Morning everyone, Phlashweb here. I wanted to share with you a question that I got asked yesterday, which I thought might be useful for other small businesses. The question was basically, how do I market my business on a small budget? My answer is basically along the lines of, what you need to think about as a small budget is what's the most effective use of your time as well as your money, because your time is what converts into essentially sales when you're a small business owner, and you need to think about where you can best use your time in order to generate those sales. So what I said was, in his case, and in fact a lot of small businesses' case, and many start like this, is that they know somebody or they're an expert in a certain area and they have a lot of referral business. And referral business is really good because you don't really pay anything for it, it's just your existing connections and network, and then they do referrals on your behalf. So I think that's probably one of the most important things that you need to think about when you're starting a small business. Serve the customers you've got now really well, so they're like literally raving about your business, because that is literally the best marketing you can get, period. Aside from that, there's other things linked to it, like networking events and business events and things like that, and just getting to know people. We don't necessarily have to sell, you just need to start building up your network. That's probably one of the most important things for a small business owner, having a good network, because people will just come to you and you don't have to pay anything for that traffic. Once you've got those human connections set up, it's a really effective way to do business. If you're not necessarily in the space where that's appropriate, then the next step, and in most businesses at some point, even if you have referrals, you will want to do digital marketing, or marketing generally. The next thing you need to figure out is, what do you know now about your customer, your market essentially, and start to draw up the avatar for whoever the number one client for your business is. Because once you've established who your client is, your number one, the best, every detail you can think of about them, then you can start to understand where they are and how you target them in the digital space. So that's the next thing you need to think about. Then once you've established that, the third thing you need to do is start to test your the platforms that you think are most likely to deliver based on your avatar. For example, if you're dealing with writers or something, perhaps you might be marketing on Twitter, or if you're dealing with possibly some sort of social media based business, like actually a marketing business, in fact, you know, it's for your specialist area. Anyway, let's say your business was in events, let's say. And events, you might want to use something like Facebook or another social media platform. And so once you've got these target platforms set up, you need to start doing some test marketing. Essentially what you're trying to find out is who is responding and how well are they responding. And when I say how well, I mean, what is it basically costing you in order to get a lead, let's say, or ultimately a sale. But initially you want to look at how much it costs you to get a lead, and then once you've established that, you can start to figure out what the cost of that marketing is, and then ultimately you're looking to improve that. But you need to get some statistics first, so you know I can spend £100 and I get 50 leads or something like that. I mean, that would be actually be not bad depending on your market, but you know, you can do things then like change your advertising copy. You can start to play with headlines and hooks and things like that in the marketing. You can change the text, change the images, change the video content, start to change the audience, refine the audience on the platform, look at what they're interested in, what they're not interested in, how you filter it out. Lots of refinements like that, and that's where you start to get your data back about, okay, this is working and this isn't. And then you can start to apply some actual marketing budget to it. Because before you've done that work, it's kind of money that you're not well spending, let's say, because you really need to start to get some data before you start to ramp up the spend. Otherwise you can just throw money into a not into a hole necessarily, but you're throwing money inefficiently at the marketing. And essentially the way I would suggest that most people do it is you run a campaign on whatever digital platform you're running it on. You establish what your best campaign is, and then you have a secondary campaign, which is more of a test campaign, which you just look at the metrics for, like cost per click or cost per lead or something like that. And you attempt to beat your current running best. So you can change all the variables I talked about earlier, but ultimately you keep running the main campaign with the budget you've set to the point where you find that campaign that's doing slightly better in the test run, and you leave it a little bit just to make sure it is doing better. And if it is, that becomes your new campaign. And that's the way I'd suggest most small businesses do it. Larger businesses, obviously, a bit of a different setup, because you can split test lots of things in parallel. You usually got a lot bigger budget and that kind of thing. So that would be what I suggest. Hope that helps some of you guys, and if you have any questions, then feel free to ping me a message, and I'll catch you tomorrow.